Welcome to another edition of the Hoop Scoop. I'm Jarret Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Mighty Joe, man, it's a beautiful day on campus. Woo! It was a stormy time over Thanksgiving. The Red Raiders went out to Las Vegas, really struggled against Iowa, and then lost in overtime to Creighton after digging themselves a pretty big hole. You and Bradley did a great job in the podcast talking about it. So if y'all haven't listened to that, I strongly urge you to go listen to that. So let's just kind of take an overview, your overall take from those two setbacks, and then let's move on.
Okay. The most obvious thing is Tech has got to come out of the gate a heck of a lot better than they are right now. Yeah. And it didn't just start in Las Vegas. We watched that Houston Baptist game where immediately they were down 0-9 to a team that didn't have any business being on the floor with them, to be perfectly honest. Trailed at half to Long Island, then smoked them by 31 in the second half. But still a slow start, and then you're down 14 to Iowa at halftime and down 10 to Creighton at halftime. I think at one point you were trailing Iowa by 18 and Creighton by a maximum of 15, something like that. You just can't do that. Now, to their credit, they fought back, they came back. Both games, and they had a shot at it right there at the end. Chris Beard said basically it's like one possession games down there at the end. So, full credit for that. But bottom line is the odds are stacked against you once you let yourself get down that far. I don't care how tough you are and how talented and how great your coach is and everything. It's just a hard deal climbing out of that sort of hole. And one of the things that you often see in that situation is teams coming back and they climb all the way up the hill, and then they can't quite finish it off. They can't get to the summit. So you just expend a lot of energy and effort and intensity trying to get back, and then it's hard to hang on to it. So it would behoove them to play a lot better out of the gate against DePaul, because what DePaul is going to be thinking. It's like, hey, this team doesn't play hard to start games, so let's just pound them and knock them out early, and then we'll just coast the rest of the way. So that's what they're really going to try to do, and Tech better be ready for that.
I think one of the biggest news items is that Jamias Ramsey, Coach Beard, confirmed it's a hamstring. It was a pretty bad bruise, he said, but he did say it was day to day. So I don't know if I'm expecting him Wednesday night against DePaul, but day to day means day to day, right? He's telling us there's a chance, and at least it shouldn't be a long-term thing, right?
Yeah, right. He said it is possible that he will play against DePaul, and they need him. Yeah. They need a win. Yeah, I think probably it's one of those deals where it's just a matter of playing with pain, and there's no real risk of, exacerbating the injury or anything like that. Then he probably does play. If it's a deal where you run the risk of losing him for an extended period of time by rushing him back, then no way. I don't know really what to expect, but I hope he's ready to go. He's a huge offensive weapon, and he's a pretty good defensive player too.
The things that stood out to me in Vegas, and I think has to change, is TJ Holyfield really didn't show up, and I don't think Texas Tech can accomplish really any of their goals they want to if that's the case. He's got to be a consistent performer for them on both ends of the court. Now, I know that puts a lot of pressure on him, but man, he's an older guy. He's been around the block. That's kind of what he took on in coming here. He knew the stakes, and the rewards are great, but so is the pressure, so is the responsibility. And they need him to step up. He can't no-show, Joe.
Absolutely not.
You've never been no-show Joe, by the way.
Well, I hope not. What's that song that you played? No-Show Jones? Right. So No-Show Holyfield, we don't want that to become his nickname. It could be one of these deals where he's just having a hard time adjusting. And I don't mean just with the actual games, but just to a new atmosphere. He's coming from Nacogdoches down there, Stephen F. Austin. Totally different ball game from up here.
He's from New Mexico, though.
He's originally from Albuquerque. I hope that he's making the adjustment all right, and that he's right mentally, that he's happy and everything. and that he's really putting the effort into it, right now, because these sorts of adjustments can be difficult. I mean, you know how it is whenever you move to someplace, and you're in an alien environment, you're just not comfortable, and so I don't know if that's part of what's going on or not, but there's times that he just looks kind of, I don't know, just from his facial expression, like he's almost not there or something, and so he needs to get everything squared away, to lock in, to play with a little bit more passion and intensity.
Yes.
Now I understand not everybody is Tariq Owens or Norrance Odiase or something like that. Not everybody's a fireball. And I think he's more of a low-key kind of a guy, and that's fine. David Amoretti is too, kind of a low-key guy, and he's doing great. So there's a place for that. But just, I want to see a little bit more obvious effort and enthusiasm and a little bit more passion from him.
In some positive news, it looks like Tyreek Smith might be working back. It looks like the cast is coming off. Actually, his mom posted on Instagram, basically saying that, how blessed they were that he's going to be coming back relatively soon. Now, I don't know how long the rehab is since he's got, taking the boot off and all that. But he could potentially add some, even just defense, length, rebounding. What kind of addition could he be?
Yeah, I mean, look, this Tech is not an overly large, bulky team anyway, as it stands right now. They're kind of thin up front, particularly if Holyfield is, not giving you what you need from him. Then you need, at very least, another big, strong body to throw in there. You get 5 other fouls to give, when you're defending some of these big guys in the Big 12, which you're going to be doing, and DePaul as well. Obviously, he's not going to be back for DePaul, but they got a pretty good big guy named Paul Reed that's 6'9", 210, walking double-double. Anytime you're facing teams that have those guys, it helps to have another big man in there, and Tyreek Smith would be very, very welcome back, that's for sure.
You mentioned Tech need another big guy. In Chris Beard's press conference earlier this week, he once again brought up basically the top way. You could tell, I can't imagine how frustrating it must be for him. Like, he knows what they need. It's sitting right there, or working right there. I mean, and if he could just put them in the lineup, if the NCAA hadn't ruled the way they did, then, I mean, you mentioned before the season, really good column, just how important in Tom Way would be, that he was the key to the season. He's right there. If you could just play him, it would really cure a lot of ills, on both ends of the floor, both offensively as a scoring option and then just length on defense. So that's got to be frustrating, Joe.
Yeah, I got a feeling that Beard really thought he was going to get that waiver.
He did.
He was counting on him to play this year, and he really was shocked.
Yeah.
And like, Plan B. We got to put Plan B in effect because Plan A incorporated Joel.
You combine that with Reek's injury, and man, Plan B is looking difficult.
I know. Last year Texas Tech was pretty fortunate in terms of injuries and stuff like that until Tariq there at the end against Michigan State, which may have been the difference between the national title and the runner-up. But other than that, very, very healthy and very fortunate. This year, some adversity. You got guys injured, Tyreek, you got Jamias is hurt, and then, of course, Joel not getting the waiver. So they've had to fight through a lot of stuff right now. And but, it is what it is. You play with the roster that you got. And hopefully Tyreek Smith comes back in there and kind of ease the loss of in Tom Way a little bit at least.
And, Coach Beard's the ultimate good guy, always gives credit where credit's due, even sometimes where it's not. He's very respectful, seems like, to everybody, and which I really appreciate. But also like feisty Beard, which I think we saw earlier this week in the press conference. Their backs are against the wall, no doubt. He's he's a street dog. He's going to fight. So I'll be interested to see how the Red Raiders fight against DePaul, and obviously Louisville coming up, #1 team in the country. So, I mean, we're going to find out really how much talent, how good this team is early on. Here coming up very soon, Mighty Joe. And then, of course, Big 12 play is just right around the corner. So it's on. It's on for Red Raider basketball. And look, I know they're facing adversity, but I fully expect them to respond under Coach Beard and his staff. So we'll see. Mighty Joe, great stuff from you as always. Thank y'all for watching, and until next time.